How you doing? Sorry, I didn't get my tweet written quite in time, so you're just gonna have to wait a second. That's how we're rolling tonight. I am unorganized, out of sorts, and unprepared. So sub to the channel because we're awesome. Obviously, whether you're watching the DLF channel or my own, which no one is, but I really appreciate anyone that is thinking about it. Maybe I appreciate it. Now, welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. My name is Peter Howard at PA Howdy on Twitter, where I fight about vacated targets constantly. And that's pretty much it. We talk about Dynasty constantly. Drop anything that you like in the comments. We're only really going to respond to it if it's about fantasy football, but feel free to let your flag fly. You never know. We might be interested in discussing water, ice hockey, or something. I don't know. It's mostly Dynasty fantasy football, though. Season's about to get here, so there's a lot of stuff popping up. People coming back into the community, and so all old takes are being recycled from the last 3 months. Happy to see that. And we don't have Russ Fisher at Dynasty Outhouse is his Twitter at this week because he decided to go on vacation, which was a good decision. We're hoping he comes back with some targets and he can let us know where they keep disappearing to. So tonight we've got Zach Reed, as usual, from the Dynasty Dummies, the man on the couch, the secret man from another podcast on the DLF stream. And we also have the newest hire at DLF. So I'm excited to talk to him tonight because he was available. And, you know, that's pretty much our standard. So, yeah, let's go find out who that is, I guess. Hey, Zach. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
I am a little.
I don't know why I haven't added Connor yet. I just haven't, and now it feels like I need a moment to. I don't know. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I'm a little bit offended that you didn't take into account all of the facets that I have to my game. It's not just fantasy football. I'm here to talk gelato. And maybe a few other things, but I'm a little offended that you didn't give me my well-roundedness.
A lot of gelato takes on the timeline. And welcome in for the first time, and someone who just signed on for DLR. So good luck with that, buddy. Connor, how you doing, man? Who are you?
Hi guys, I'm a C Plant on Twitter. I've been following Peter for a really long time. It's been like maybe 2 years.
Sorry.
And tinkering around his database, and he's really inspired me to get in the analyst game. And yeah, I'm glad to join DLF, and I'm going to be making mostly TikTok content for them. So stay tuned for that.
All right, you gotta respect the beard game. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
Strong beard game. Am I lagging? Am I too far behind? You guys keep jumping around my screen. I have concerns.
No, you look good.
I don't know. Yeah, it looks fine.
Okay. Well, it wouldn't matter if it did because I'm not going nowhere. Screw you. Yeah, we already got like 1 billion comments in the chat, so we should really get rolling. Zach has to get out here at 11:30. I might be called away in an hour to go pick someone up. So yeah, let's talk some Dynasty. Randy Wyatt. Okay, I'm used to waiting on tight ends to pop in year 3. Year 2 is actually the year, and then there's a consistent lower but consistent hit rate for the next 2 or 3 years. Pitts and Pheromones are outliers to me, so why can't Adam Troutman be a thing? He can be a thing. It's just we haven't seen shit. Breakouts don't come from nowhere. It's not like breakouts just quietly wait on the depth chart and then suddenly get 100 or 50 targets or even 80 targets. They're usually impressing if you know where to set your thresholds earlier than that. Do they come from nowhere sometimes? Yes, mostly at running back. And that's why. It's not like he can't be, but he's not done enough to get me interested to put him on the list. Anyone got anything else to add to that?
I agree.
No, just okay.
he's not like a target.
Really. Yeah, he's not. Again, if we're, I know we tongue in cheek the vacated targets earlier, but targets are earned on that team. Adam Troutman is not earning targets because there are. There's Michael Thomas, there's now Jarvis Landry, there's Alvin Kamara, and then various sundry other wide receivers that are being targeted more than Troutman. So there's your answer. He's not the guy.
Not it.
I like to make fun of the vacated targets idea, obviously, a lot by saying you have to turn your brain off for it to be common sense. But I think part of it is just we forget how many players are getting targets on a team. Like, we don't care about 90% of players, and we care about those 100 players that matter, like, exponentially more. And we're like, but there's a bunch of targets on the team. And it's like, yeah. And the ones who eventually become fantasy relevant usually co-opt some of those targets on the depth chart to usually an unusually high degree for just a wide receiver 3 or for just a tight end 4. And in fact, they might even have fantasy relevant games. And like, that's interesting considering they're new and just working into the NFL. And by the time they get to year 5, hitting their thresholds even matters less because honestly, vets will just have a security in the offense. They feel more trust with them. And it's not like the opposite of that doesn't happen sometimes, but it's more rare and it's less often. So if you're looking for what's most likely to happen, you're going to lean for players that are doing some of the stuff we talk about. Does it mean Adam Trautman's bad? No. What do I know? I don't even watch. I don't know. It was good. Does it mean he can? Yeah, of course he can. Everyone has a breakout potential. And I think anyone talking yes or no that's more content driven, right? You want to offer black and white answers that makes it sound like you know what's going to happen. And it doesn't really matter if you're right or wrong, as long as you sound like you know that you're right and wrong. But we do it differently a little bit around here. So yeah, he could. He's far enough down the list. That's where his ADP comes from. You know what I mean, Randy? Welcome back, Randy, by the way. We appreciate you every week. How do you value Antonio Gibson? That's a Zach question. Feels like that's a Zach question.
I mean, to me, he's now a 1-year rental. Like you saw him kind of get usurped in the preseason by Brian Robinson. You saw them being willing to replace him at least in early downs between the tackles, between the 20s. And so that, the unfortunate thing with Brian Robinson is that he was shot. He was carjacked and he was shot in the leg and the rear end from everything that I have been able to glean from the story, which means that he's probably, I know that there's what Randy said that they didn't put him on the PUP. I don't think they're allowed to put him on the PUP now. I think it would have to be IR now that the preseason's over. But they haven't done that yet. It won't surprise me that if they do housekeeping where they either put him on IR where they can bring him back after, I think it's 4 weeks this year. And then, or NFI, the non-football injury, that sort of thing. But that's all housekeeping. The fact that he hasn't gone on it yet may or may not mean anything in terms of Brian Robinson coming back this year. I would not expect it. I expect Antonio Gibson to be Antonio Gibson this year, but there's that cloud hanging over him now where they've already decided that they can replace him. So it will not surprise me if Washington continues to look for somebody to replace Gibson.
Yeah.
I was recently looking, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to write about. I got 2 article series to write, and I got to figure out what I'm going to write about because weekly sucks. Antonio Gibson came up because he kept breaking my thresholds for things that you can look for every week because it was such a bad top 12 season. Well, not bad and good are words we use for content. Again, it was the lowest points per game top 12 performance we've seen in forever. That doesn't mean he's not good. It doesn't mean he's not talented. It does seem like the team was moving on, or at least ready to move on. And this year, his ADP, at least on Underdog, Dynasty ADP doesn't adjust quick enough, really. It's month-to-month affair. But on Underdog, like, I feel great where you can get him right now. He's like an afterthought. And for a guy who tends to lean away for running back, that's awesome. Because I'll take the couple of games where he's actually going to do something great. But yeah, as someone who was out last year, I told you some last year. Whether that turned out to be right or wrong in 2021, I can't go back on it now. It's a little late to come back in. Connor, anything to add? Found any fun stats about Gibson?
I just look at I know you said last year he had like a low scoring top 12 finish, but I don't know. I still think like looking at his total points from the last 2 years, he was like running back 13, running back 12. Mm-hmm. I mean,
yeah, it's just
he doesn't look bad.
Back,
no, but I feel like
carry on.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like people are kind of over exaggerating. Like I mean, yes, we saw a lot from Brian Robinson in the preseason, and we've had all these, reports about training camp and whatnot. But I don't know. I still think like he could be good. Do I know what's going to happen with Washington this year? No idea. But I think he's a good buy low candidate right now. Because potentially we're wrong. We might be wrong about Brian Robinson.
See, I don't know I'd buy in Dynasty because even if he does well, like last year, relative to the position, he was good. That's the point. It's relative to the type. But if you buy in Dynasty, then you've got Antonio Gibson. Like, it feels like I'd rather add to that capital and go up.
Well, and Gibson is that guy that everybody who does analysis is waiting to go. I told you he wasn't good because he didn't have a sample size enough for the analytics, and there weren't enough games on film for the film watchers, and so everyone just kind of went, I don't know, except for the people who watch highlights. And they were all like, Antonio Gibson is great. He's going to come in and be and so, 90% of the fantasy football, the dynasty community is waiting to just go, I told you so on Gibson. And so it's going to be really hard for him to bump that value back up, I think, because everyone is waiting for that shoe to drop.
That's fair.
Obviously, fantasy aside, I think the main takeaway here is this sucks for Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
He's been working towards his entire life, and he was doing so well to get drafted where he did. And then this preseason, he was getting so much attention. And it's just sad. Hopefully, he can get back healthy and on the field.
Yeah.
And do it again. But man, that's rough. 12-team Superflex. Herbert and a 23-second or Watson and 2 firsts.
I hate this.
Herbert.
It's probably Watson in the first.
Yeah. As much as I hate Watson, it's like
I'm trading Watson away for Goff, whatever I can get personally, or Tua. If I could get Tua by one of those firsts, no, maybe not a first, but something. But yeah, value wise, it's the Watson side. I can tell you, I probably reject it.
I mean,
it's not just a distaste for the situation. It's also, I think we got a lot of great quarterbacks right now. Watson's coming back for a partial season on a mega contract that limits a bad team that's now lumbered with him. Like their fantasy, his fantasy points should come back in a year or two. How many different things can happen between here and there? And you've got 223 first to do something with, so I'd probably move Watson even if I took the value.
And that's fair. I mean, you could cascade that. You could take the 2 first and then trade Watson and get. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could get Tua for that. You might even be able to get somebody who, dare I say, has a little bit more ceiling than Tua. Although I do think Tua is going to be really good with the wide receivers he's got. Man, it's going to be fun. So
either way, this is probably a distaste.
Yeah. If Russ was here, he would definitely take Herbert just on premise.
And to be fair, you're not going to be upset to have Herbert. He'd be pretty good. Although I hear everyone on the team's going to get injured except Josh Palmer pretty soon, and that would probably suck.
Wow.
Paul Cicero, 18 PPR. I traded Fant, Chubb, and a 23 third for Edmonds. Whatever.
Same difference.
Apologies to his mother. No, Chuba. And a 23. I'll start again. 18 PPR. One, that is too few teams. Man, you just want studs. Most of the players in this trade are not studs. In an 18 league, I'm not sure I'm interested in any of them. That's why I can tell you to start with. I traded Fant, Chubb, and a 23 third, which does not matter, for Edmonds, Naheem Hines, and a 23 fifth, which matters even less. How did I do?
I want Edmonds.
Yeah, I probably want Edmonds from the deal, but in an 18 league, I'm not sure how relevant any of these guys are.
No,
but
you could end up with weeks where, like, the one thing that you don't know is how Miami is gonna. So, like, you might as well have Edmonds.
I would agree with that. Yeah. And I think the trade's good. Honestly, if we're going to take it out of the 8-team situation, I think the value's fair. I don't mind giving up Fant so much and Chuba. is a decent depth running back, but Edmonds should be in for some volume straight away. And Naheem Hines, I mean, he could start catching passes again. He could be as good as J.D. McKissick. We'll see.
Oh, no. That's RB1. J.D. McKissick to you,
I
sir.
just threw that in. Again, 18 PPR, 2 quarterbacks. Even 2 quarterbacks. Wow. This trade went down today. Zach Wilson, a Dallas DST. Okay. For Daniel Jones, Hunter Henry, Zamir White, and John Michi, who I'm probably saying that wrong too. Apologies. Who won? I think everyone lost. Yeah. For a few reasons. One, this is such a small league with 2 quarterbacks. That's kind of insane. I think Hunter Henry's got usability in a 12-team league. I don't know he does that much for you in an 8-team league even.
Right.
Zamir White is undervalued, but again, that value is probably not going to spike in an 8-team league. He's not barely startable, even if he gets the volume I expect.
Well, I mean, he could be Josh Jacobs if Josh Jacobs isn't Josh Jacobs.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's the one thing
think,
that, yeah. I would rather have that side of it, but this is like you said, everybody lost.
I hadn't even gotten to the Dallas DST being in the trade. You know.
That's nothing.
But yeah, that's what it is. But 2 quarterback. I guess I'll take the upside of Wilson over the upside of White.
Yeah,
in 18 actually. And I'm not in on Wilson. You know that.
I'm so far out on Wilson.
I was gonna say Wilson just because, like, from a historical perspective, he's probably the more likely breakout than Jones. Because it's second year quarterback. Yeah.
I don't know if he's more or less likely than White. I don't know how to do that cross position.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
That'd be my only question. But I think the trade's fair enough, and we've got a disagreement on who won. So I guess both sides. To be fair, there's a way both teams get better here. So I think they both won. They did a good trade for the players they wanted, I hope. And I think that's just a fair trade. And traded away, same league, 24-second to get Hunter Henry. Actually, even in an 8-team, I don't hate that at all.
Yeah.
I think it's going to flex for you at least. Yeah. And a third in 25. I think, that's fine. And good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Davis. Glad to hear Brian Robinson will be okay. Yeah, he was immediately declared as stable, which I think, like everyone else, happy to hear. I don't know how you get shot multiple times and you're stable. Like, thank goodness. I'm really grateful to hear that because, wow, that could have been so much worse. Order 66, 12-team Superflex PPR. 1 tight end premium. Start 10. Daniel Jones, Pollard, Garrett Wilson, or Russell Wilson and Ham. I just know on Hamler.
I want Russell Wilson, though.
Wilson in a Superflex is probably the difference here for me.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. I want Russell Wilson.
I'm pausing because Connor, new to the stream, I found it really difficult to read these things and then sort it all out in my head. So I don't know if you're having that feeling, but I always find it hard to get my
it is a lot of
trades.
Text.
Like you got to put it in the MFL format in my head and then think it through. Like that's what I do personally. Where are we? I've lost the plot so many times. Oh, J Mike. Don't you think you can get away from my love just because our Dynasty League folded? My love knows no bounds. That's J Mike talking to Zach there. They podcast together.
No, it says you two. You two.
Sidestep that hug. You see that? Joey, 12-team Superflex PPR start 10. Russell Wilson. And I had my first Dynasty League fold today. The first time one folded under me. That was sad.
Oh, wow. Sad. That's unfortunate.
But poor commissioning. We'll blame that.
Russell Wilson, Elijah Moore, and a 23 third for Fields, a 23 first, and a 23 second. And a third.
I still think I'm on the Russell Wilson side of this. Like, as much upside as Justin Fields has, and as much as I love 23 first, getting Russell Wilson and getting Elijah Moore, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it's basically a first for both because there's not much. Fields He's not bad.
No, he's
Yeah.
and I think he's
Basically, it's got to be that Elijah Moore's worth a first, and Russell Wilson's better than Fields. Or I would take Russell Wilson over Fields. So.
This feels to me like the team getting Fields in the first is rebuilding, and the team getting Wilson and Moore is competing this year. And if that's the case, I like it for both teams. But if it's my team, I'm generally going after it, and so I want the Wilson and Moore side.
If that was the case, would you turn around and try and trade Fields, or see what happens and see if you can get more for him later?
I mean, if I'm making this trade, I'm going to hang on to Fields because I want to see if the change in regime is going to benefit him. Like you saw him this past week when he ran. I mean, it was again only a few series, but they ran a lot more play action and they ran a lot more plays where Fields moved the pocket, was able to roll one way or the other, which plays to his strengths. Like his strength is not get the ball and get it out quick. His strength is get the ball, move the pocket, let guys make plays downfield for him, and then throw the ball. And so you saw him throw. I think he threw for, I don't know, 2 or 3 touchdowns, and the Bears were, dare I say it, pretty good. And I know it's a preseason game and it doesn't matter, but it was fun to watch that. So if I'm trading for Fields, I'm going to hang on to it because I'm believing in the change is going to do him good.
That's the part that I think is interesting. It's like rookies right now. Would you trade them for a first, or wait to see if they can just increase it a little bit? Because they've got 16 games to do something technically. Like, and I kind of lean that side as well. Maybe just let it ride. I'm a gambler when it comes to let's see if what the 16 teams, 16 games will bring anyway. I don't know. I like that.
Yeah, I'd actually probably go with the Field side, because my thought process is like, yeah, you're gonna have to wait a little bit for the first and the second to see like who's gonna be there. But if I'm not mistaken, Zach, the 23 class is pretty good, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we've had this conversation. Peter and I have had this conversation the past couple of weeks. Like, it doesn't even matter if the 23 class is good because everyone thinks the 23 class is good. So 23 picks are good. Even if you don't make that pick, the value there to be able to move it as a trade chip is going to be great. So
yeah. And I wanted to say like a fun fact is Fields was I think #1 graded quarterback by PFF in preseason. So I mean it is preseason, but still that's good to know. That maybe, could break out.
Don't mind it. I appreciate a diversity of opinion. Joey says, thanks, gents. I don't know what we did.
Thanks,
I'm assuming
Joey.
Thanks, Joey.
As for this money, by the way, if you send it on the DLF channel, don't know what happens to it. If you're sending it on my channel, it turns out it's going to my bank account. So I meant to go back through that and figure out how much we've had donated and split it up. And then I got caught up in some other stuff today. But where is that? There was a really good question here, and I just skipped it to talk about Joey, which we appreciate, Joey, by the way.
Your worst fantasy take last year.
Yeah, that was the one. I thought that was it because I had answers because I just went back through like my takes article on Twitter again because I didn't get owned for it enough the first time, and I got a bunch. Right? You ready, Johnny?
Mm-hmm.
No, going in on CEH again, like I'm doing this year. Fuck. It was terrible. I said CEH would finish higher than Antonio Gibson, since that's relevant to what we were just talking about. That was pretty bad. Calvin Ridley, wide receiver 1. Hard to blame myself on that one, but, that was pretty terrible. Personally, the one I feel like it's worse because I still don't know what to do with it, because I went, Deontay Johnson was highlighted as a potential top 12 breakout by my own process. I had him in the article, and in the article I write, but I just want Juju. And that didn't work out so good. And because of some of the other things I've learned, I can't say just like both. I'm very much in favor of picking the one and say, if you don't believe they can finish as the top scorer, then just you don't like the position you're just playing. And that's fine, but you don't have a strong take. But I don't know how to get in on. I don't know how to fix that. Honestly, that's the one that was most conflicting for me. Deontay Johnson highlighted in my own research, and then I didn't like him, and I didn't put him in that article as a likely wide receiver 1 on Pittsburgh, and I hate myself for it. That's I think it's my worst one because I can't fix it yet.
Yeah.
And also, he finished top 12, and that was pretty cool for anyone who was in. And extra Juju slander, why not? Anyone else got one?
Okay, I would say mine was probably DJ Moore. It's probably like a lot of people's. Whereas like he went and had a 1,200-yard season again, only 4 touchdowns. Yeah, and I was like, what about you, Zach?
So for me, most of my takes are about rookies. And
Right.
so I grade out of 99. I do film work. So
Right.
I grade out of 90 points. Jamar Chase, 76.5, which is really good out of 90. He's in top 5. Rondell Moore, also 76.5. And so that was the real big swing and miss. The fact that my top tier of wide receivers had Rondell Moore in it last year was rough. I still hold out.
I allowed your love to even boost my own love, and that was a problem. Really trying to talk myself out of it, and I've kept him largely out of my content. But I did write a little piece up on my Patreon saying, "Look, everything in my process says no, and I still like him. He hadn't played football for 2 years. Let me come up with some more excuses." It's rough.
I mean, it would be nice if they deployed him like past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
but whatever. I mean, who am I? I'm definitely not smarter than Cliff Kingsbury. So,
at least not about football. Probably, since
he's got much better hair too. So,
oh sure, who could possibly have better hair than you, Zach? Can't wait till mine falls out. I'll be honest with you, it's just a burden. What was I going to say? Shit, I forgot. I'm getting reminded of Jalen Reagor takes today. That sucks. 2 out of 3 of my top tier were great.
I would say you can come back. You can come back with Jefferson. I know you had Jefferson up there.
CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson, and Jalen Reagor. Fuck.
At least they weren't bringing up Whiteside or Tutu Atwell. So I mean,
I just ignore it.
Or Nikhil Harry.
Tim Shady says, "Hey guys, hey Tim, Connor."
Oh, what's up, Tim? How's it going?
Jarrett Webb Sparks time travel.
Yeah, but I read this in.
It's all right. I wouldn't.
Garofalo as Smart Hulk. Time travel. I don't
know. Jack Sala. I'm just gonna say first names from now on forever, because people are mad. People are gonna be mad at the way I pronounce names. It's got to happen. Burrow Higgins and a 23 first, or Lamar, Moore, and Bateman.
Which more? I still think it's the first side.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be
DJ Moore,
right?
I don't care which more. I'd still want the Burrow Higgins in the first, but
yeah.
Yeah, I'd want Burrow Higgins in the first too. Actually,
I mean,
Lamar.
It's slight edge to Lamar. Like slight edge. Like I'll give the edge to Lamar, but Higgins over either one of those two by quite a sight, and I still want the 23 first.
People are going to be so disappointed by Bateman. I'm going to be buying so much Bateman next year. That's my prediction. Like he's going to do what a good player does in that situation, and everyone's going to be like, "This sucks. You all suck." And I'm going to go trade for him and wait for Marcus Brown breakout. I take Burrow Higgins. I love birds in the hand. And plus money, I guess, in the first.
Yeah,
it's me. Sorry, the music keeps switching, by the way, and the fact it all sucks. I keep trying to find one of the things they give us that doesn't suck, and they all suck. And Tim Shady, who's the biggest winner of the off-season roster cuts?
Ooh, it's a tough one for me.
Jeff Wilson Jr.
I mean, Damian Pierce got another boost,
CDP?
Right?
No, I think Jeff Wilson is in line to be the second guy in that backfield. But I mean, maybe it's. But, it was not Tyler Johnson being cut. That hurt.
Shut up!
We're just hitting all the high notes tonight.
I think all my high notes. Sony Michel getting cut was a little interesting.
Yeah, although they do have did have 17 running backs on that.
I would have to check. I don't think I'm even up to date on cuts. Is Mark Ingram still on the Saints though?
As far as I know.
I think so, yeah.
I think that's honestly the one that comes to mind. Like, I mean, Kamara might be off the field for a certain period of field trouble. And even if he's not, like Kamara's going to do what Kamara does. Don't get me wrong, but Mark Ingram's still a usable running back, and he's sticking to the depth chart quietly like that. I think it's interesting. Matthew, how much fab would you throw at Sony Michel? Fuck.
5%.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much, especially off-season fab beds. I'm not going crazy. I want to see some stuff, and then I'll go all in. Sony Michel's upside is you might flex him a week, though, to be clear. So don't go crazy.
I mean, he was good at the end of last season. I traded for him at the end of last season.
I
was happy with it. But
first round pick. Ramsey. I want to do a process trade. Okay. Should I trade Kelsey and a 23 second for Goddard and a 23 first? That trade's good if you wanted to. I want Kelsey.
Now
but
I don't hate that.
Yeah, I don't mind it, especially since you're at the end of Kelsey being worth trading.
Even if he has 2 more years in him, he's probably at the end of this kind of value.
Yeah. So like, if you don't trade him now, you're running with him. Like Travis Kelce is gonna be on your roster, and that's fine. But this is a nice way to get out of it, get younger, move forward.
I can't.
What was that? It wasn't close enough to the camera, Peter. What was it?
No, it's a light. I can't get it good. It's a Dynasty Dummies mug. I found it.
That is a beautiful mug.
I know. I can't even remember when you sold it, but I was like, a Dynasty Dummies merch? I'm getting that. Sorry to pour into the microphone there. Tell you what, something I missed on Team Old Guy, as I am a firm member, is something like Jacob Rickrow was laughing the other day about people trading away like late career Jerry Rice or someone. And at this point, something that I used to miss was if your team's mid, yeah, you do. And that's why we keep saying it on these trades. It's like, it's stupid. Kelsey's going to be good. But if you're not winning, that value doesn't come back. And that's just buying draft picks. In Dynasty, you don't have draft picks. You have value. And so you need it. And if your team is anything close to mid, yeah, you kind of do, even if they do keep producing.
And honestly, I think one of the things that gets missed in all of this, and this is why you keep saying if your team's mid, if you have Kelsey on your team, not only are you losing value, but he's scoring you points you don't want.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And
I appreciate you noticing I'm throwing in the word mid. Connor's here, and I'm like, I am one with the youth. I know these words.
I am hip.
I speak
Hello,
the language
fellow
of the youth.
kids.
Hello, fellow children. TDS. Check, Connor, is your Twitch? Not Twitch, TikTok. One of the youthful platforms. Is it the same as your Twitter app, by the way? I don't know you mentioned it.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
said you were going to be doing...
Yeah, my but the one for DLF is just gonna be DLF Dynasty.
Oh, it's gonna be through the DLF.
Yeah,
post it on both. That's what I do. Then you only have to make one at a time.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably do 2 separate, but yeah, maybe.
TDSD, touchdowns D. I don't know. Just had an offer come in, giving Eckler and Sky Moore. Don't hate it for AJ Brown and Tony Pollard. Yeah, I kind of like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like that.
You're really tentative on AJ Brown.
I am. I know. I'm going to take that, but it does. I mean, like, I am nervous about AJ Brown. I'm nervous about the situation that AJ Brown finds himself in. But I guess we've been nervous about that before, and he was fine. So.
I think it's important to highlight your uncertainty just in case you're right, so you can be like, "Hey, and one of us told you right."
I'm still taking the Browns, the Brown side. But
no, I get you.
I'm not
pushing the button tentatively.
Yeah, I'm not as bullish. Yeah. Like if that had been last year, I would have been like, yeah.
It is a we assumed, but it's good to clarify. I appreciate that, man. What do you expect from Echo? I expect honestly top 12, maybe even top 5 season again.
What do
he's
you
in order
expect?
And he's undrafted as a pro.
Back for Eckler.
Oh, good.
Like in a hypothetical trade.
Yeah,
I love this.
Hypothetically, I would pair him with Sky Moore and then try to get like AJ Brown and maybe a handcuff running back like a Madison or a Pollard, that sort of thing.
Wow, good idea. Good idea.
Yeah, you're trying to snag a first and then get something on top of it because you're probably not going to get 2 firsts, so you get something else that you like. But again, if you're playing for this season, I might have an Eckler too much.
Yeah. The thing with Eckler, though, is I don't know that you're going to get a 23 first for him, which sounds weird, but he's at that kind of age where people are like, oh, he's old. And he's not age a 27, right? He's not the he's not the between the tackles guy. So I think that if you're doing that, it would be like a 24 first and a player that you like that has upside, that sort of thing.
Running backs are always if you're going for it, pay it. If you're not, don't.
Yeah,
kind of a situation. And at age 27, you're expecting a little bit of a discount, which is why I'm not just saying two first round picks because you're not going to get it. So you're looking for first and a plus. That's fair. Stickman, I know your work. I like it. 10-team Superflex, start 9. Half-point PPR, contender. Good enough. Traded Mixon for a 22-23 first, and Singletary. That's max value, I'm pretty sure. Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Mixon's that running back that honestly taught me that top 12 isn't all it's cracked up to be. He got in there twice, and people were still like, but he can do it this year. I'm like, he did it. Like, that's it. Oh, that's the thing. Not all top 12 running backs are created equally. Good, productive, probably going to be the same again this year, but people are still trying to find reason to project that McCaffrey level upside, and I'm not going to buy into it. So, especially getting out, I don't think the 223 first gets done in my league. Not to my league, but I don't think many people in my leagues will be paying up for that for Mixon. So I think you got really good trade here. The best way to replace Mixon is to wait for the first few weeks and spend your fab on those running backs who seem to be doing something, honestly. Or the young guys, like everyone knows about Pierce now. Spiller's getting a lot of shade because he didn't impress in senior in preseason and in camp, but I still don't mind him. Same with Rashad White, Zamir White, Zach just mentioned, and talking with Mike's his name, Daddy's home. Last week on the podcast, he brought up Zamir White as well, so I'm probably underrated him. But it's trying to catch some of those later running backs that could work into that. That's the way I always approach trying to find another running back. Outside of just drafting Breece Hall and then drafting the running back one next year, so on and so forth.
I may be turning around and looking at trying to acquire somebody like AJ Dillon, who I think is going to score, but I also think his value is going to go up. And so then you gain a piece that you can trade again. I'm assuming if you traded away Mixon this year, you're talking about replacing him. Maybe you don't replace him this year. I don't know. Or pivot and use Singletary as your RB2 or RB3, and then go try to get somebody like Cortland Sutton or Allen Robinson, one of those, or Juju Smith-Schuster, one of those receivers that I think is being undervalued, to score in your flex and make up the difference that way. Because you don't have to. That's the thing, Stickman, is you don't have to make up the replacement at that position. You just have to make up the points in the aggregate. It's the old Billy Bean thing. You're not replacing the player, you're replacing his points. And so you can find points somewhere else, by mixing and matching and finding undervalued guys.
Yeah. It's kind of off point. Then I'm not going to go off point. No, it's a good point. That's how I go about searching for running backs. But if you're asking me who were the running backs I trade for as a contender right now to go up and get, hopefully for less than 2 firsts, exactly for less than 2 firsts, is Saquon Barkley and Alvin Kamara top of my list. Unless the guy in your league is one of those Christian McCaffrey haters. Zeke could be on the list, but those are the two at the top of it. Alvin Kamara is getting that how long's he suspended discount, and Barkley's just getting the
he rolled his ankle once.
Christian McCaffrey does come up, but his value is so good right now. It tends to be that he's well valued. You're not getting him for less than 2 firsts. So he's further down my list. And again, I started putting all that in my draft sheet so you can actually sort by position now, because instead of just me making a list, it's more fair to actually look at my ranks and who I'm actually reaching on. And those are the top 2 that come up. I'd try Saquon Barkley, and if that guy says no, I'd try same trade on the Alvin Kamara guy.
Now-
A first plus something.
What about somebody like James Conner as a lower, like not an expensive ad?
That's the other way of going about it, though. Looking for those depth running backs that could get volume that people are underrated. So yeah, Khalil Herbert's another good ad.
Yep.
Similar argument. James Robinson.
Yeah. That's actually a really good one, sneaky one, because everyone is in on ETN.
Like 9 times out of 10, if I'm adding that's how I'm adding running backs. But if I'm really like this team fire, I'm gonna go get a running back. That's when the top Saquon Barkley and Christian and Alvin Kamara start. I might start sending offers out on them. Like I have a few leagues where there's almost no point in playing value too much. So I just went down the list. I just sent a trade with a first and a good wide receiver to the Barkley owner. And there are actually multiple Barkley owners. And then I sent it to the CMC owner. And then I sent it to the Alvin Kamara. And just hoping one of them said yes. And none of them did. So I went back to my search for depths. So it's rare, but it does happen. That I'll go try and trade up for those guys. Order 66, 12 teams, Superflex, PPR, 1 point tight end premium. Start 10. Herbert or Tua, Hawkinson, and Garrett Wilson. So Tua, Hawkinson, Garrett Wilson, or Herbert. And it is a Superflex.
I'd go with Herbert.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah.
But Tua could break out, and then you have Hawkinson and tight end premium. That's pretty solid.
That Hawkinson's tempting, and Garrett Wilson's a decent rookie prospect this year. I'm not enamored like some people called Zach, but I think he's good. I like to throw shade at Zach when I can, because then he gets to remind me of it when he's right and I'm wrong. So next year, you see, it keeps the content flowing. What was that about Julian Rager? I can't remember. Hawkinson's really tempting because he's entered that stage of he broke out and people realized not all breakouts are Gronkowski, and so now everyone's like, that's an old breakout. I want a new breakout. And so he's in this really interesting value window, especially in the tight end premium. But I think Herbert still wins in Super.
I would say, how big a breakout are we talking for Tua? Because it right now you're looking. He needs to surmount a 10-point per game gap to Herbert. Like that's,
and Hawkinson will be decent, and Garrett Wilson is a very decent rookie value. Yeah. But like Tua has to. I'm sticking with Herbert if it was my team. Because again, you could get that value for Herbert next year. If he doesn't play this year, his value ain't going nowhere, and Tua's is fluctuating. The other two are worth, whatever. It's a Herbert side for me.
Yep.
As well. Marty Williams, how do you all feel about Marcus Mariota and Desmond Ridder? For 2 seconds, dude needs a QB desperately. I'm most definitely rebuilding. See, here's the thing about quarterback value that no one ever tells you. Like, bad quarterbacks technically are worth rostering, and rostered quarterbacks, but then when you need to trade them because you're just looking for the value, everyone's like, I don't want to start Marcus Mariota. You take him.
I need a first.
Golf. I have so many Goffs, and then when my team's bad and I need to build a little, like, no one will pay. What did you say, Zach? Sorry.
I said I need you're giving him a starting quarterback.
Yeah,
because one of those two guys is going to start for Atlanta this year in basically every game. I need a first to give up a starting quarterback, especially if you say that guy's desperate for quarterbacks.
I don't know how you're going to get it, but that's what I'd hold out for. He's not wrong. That's what I mean, though. Like, I find it so hard to get anyone to do it.
What's the hit? Maybe you don't have this handy. I know Jacob Rickroad does a lot of stuff with this, but like, what's the hit rate on seconds?
Not great.
Yeah, and you already have a starting quarterback right there.
Yeah, drop select. You're not getting a quarterback for that one or the other of those seconds, put it that way. And I don't think seconds, I like adding them because you can add them to trade. So it has value in moving your roster forward. But, I mean, you can get them different ways, and trading a definite starting quarterback. Probably a definite starting quarterback. Probably a different starting quarterback. I can say words. Don't judge me.
English is a second language.
Oh, they're even in separate years. Forget it. Yeah. No. Trade him to anyone else that might need quarterbacks for a first, and message him
or hold.
No, not really. Just hold No, honestly, if you're rebuilding, I'd be sending out first for those two to every other team if he's not willing to do it. See if anyone can bite.
Yeah.
John Cooper, evening fellas. I've offer he has just received 12-team Superflex, JT and Daniel Jones. A lot of Daniel Jones trades. For Lance, Jimmy G, okay, and Bateman.
I'm not doing
Lance, JT, especially JT for Lance and Bateman, right? Jimmy G and Daniel Jones, like whatever. So Superflex, though, and you get.
Do you guys think
he needs more pieces to win than JT, which is a fair statement, I think. But value that's good. It's a good idea to trade JT right now. Lance is so uncertain, though, for me to be given up for JT. Zach, I know I'm at kind of a crossroads here.
Man, I feel like I want more for Jonathan Taylor, but maybe you can do the Russ, the Dynasty Outhouse Cascade trades because because Lance is worth a lot right now. So even if you're not necessarily in on him, he's going top 8, top 9 quarterbacks. So you can move that, but it just seems like instead of getting a sure thing for Taylor, you're hoping you can make moves.
That's what I mean. Like what this reminds me of in my own personal experience is when I had Mahomes on a team that sucked. Like I drafted Mahomes because everyone else sucks and I'm great, apart from the fact my team sucked. So I had Mahomes and basically nothing else. And I went around the league and I offered lots of trades to everyone, and they all told me the trade calculator said different. And then Dave Wright, Spaceman, was in there, and he's a sharp fella, and I was kind of tilting over it. And he ended up sending me something with Corey Davis in it because he knew I loved Corey Davis. And some other stuff that mounted up close to Mahomes' value, but was definitely just stuff.
Yeah.
And my love of Corey Davis at the time, this was a few years ago, and I regret taking that. We both knew what Mahomes was by then. He'd had his breakout. I was like, give me the world for Mahomes because my team sucks and no one else would do it. So I took the trade that I could get.
Here's a snow globe with Corey Davis in it.
Yes, basically. So I took the trade I could get. And I don't recommend it. I would shop around.
Yeah.
And Zach's not wrong. If you think you can trade Lance that way, it works out. But I couldn't get trades done in this league. So,
and John,
maybe send JT to other players because you should get something. You should get a boat, not maybe a boat for JT. There should be at least one boat in that trade. And you're not even getting a first. And I love Bateman, but he's not quite there yet. So I need at least one boat in a trade to get rid of JT. So I think I'm keeping the JT side here. And I hate it. Don't get me wrong, because I see what you're doing and it makes sense. And if you're good at trading, like Zach said, Russ could probably turn Lance into the world.
Actually, the more I read this, it sounds like John is getting the JT side.
Yeah.
I need more pieces than JT to win, but the value seems too good to pass.
But the value, you're right.
That's how I read
it. Yeah, the JT side, and then if you decide you need to build more, you can break him down into pieces and do your rebuild that way. But
reverse everything I just said. You're selling the Lance hype for a real piece right now. You're getting the boat. Take the boat, and then maybe trade JT for something if that's not quite enough for you. But I mean, yeah, that makes me feel better about saying the JT. Good eye, Zach. Good eye.
I'm very literate. I'm not a lot of things, but I'm very literate.
I'm great. I'm great at words. Words are my thing. Was able to snag David Bell in a rookie draft. Congrats. Nice. Always appreciate the work you all do. After our league cut, by the way, I had to go back to the Dynasty Planet to check my new rostership. Now that one's out. David Bell's still top. I'm good. He's like in the top 5. I'm still all right. Always appreciate the work you all do. Thanks for the analytic approach, and let's all hope he pans out. Yeah, that's Zach and his analytic approach. No, I appreciate it.
110011.
I'm firmly invested. So we're going up or down together, my man. That's all I can tell you. Matt, love you guys. 12-team, half-point PPR, 1 quarterback. I got offered he got an offer 1/4 words. He's going to give in this trade Cooper Kupp and Derek Carr. He's going to get Devontae Smith, Justin Fields, a first, a second, and a third. The third is in 24, but it doesn't matter. I'm rebuilding, so this is an easy smash? Question mark.
I wouldn't.
I have no idea. I don't know what it is. I'd rather have Carr on a rebuild team than Fields, because I know I can get what I can get for Carr at any point, and Justin Fields might be worth less. I really want to come in on Justin Fields. He's so much fun. I honestly think he's been before his rookie season, he was maligned, and that was uncalled for. And Cooper, I want Kupp.
Change the 24 third to a 24 first, and we'll talk, Matt.
Yeah, that would be much more tempting.
I don't. Obviously. Is he really rebuilding though? I feel like if you have Kupp, you're not like. Why would you want?
Yeah, I mean, there's 400 points right there in a PPR league.
I tell you what, when I was doing that research, I was racking up points, and there's just Kupp sitting in this weirdly disproportionate place to everyone else. That's not right. I'm not adding that up right.
I still Cooper Kupp was my very first flag plant in his rookie year, and it was so everyone was listening to Matt Kelly.
He's a compiler.
Yeah, exactly. And I went. He came on the dummy show, and I went toe to toe with him and lost, because that's what you do when you go toe to toe with him.
No, I remember that.
But in the end, I feel I have emerged victorious. I crawled up from underneath the rubble, and here is Cooper Kupp.
I remember it because I was just starting to investigate FCS schools, basically, because I love those guys. The stats look so good. So I was starting to look at this concept of compiling, because Matt had mentioned it before. I really wanted to like Kupp, but it made me nervous, to be honest with you. But luckily, I got to come back in when everyone dropped into wide receiver 30-something last year, because he's old. So, we got good. But yeah. Why did your league fold? Commissioner problems, honestly. No, honestly, 4 people in it just didn't respond, didn't pay their league dues, and we'd been having trouble keeping it organized for a while anyway. And so we're just probably let this one fall, which sucks, because I was in it because it's got 6 or 7 people in there that I'm not in any other leagues with that I love, and so now just not in them.
But I also think that and this again, we're not going to name names or anything, but you had I think the people that paid are the people that you're talking about, those 5 or 6 people that you play with, and then we had kind of people that we liked, but we didn't know quite people as well. That filled in, and people that that weren't necessarily that core group, and so that to me, is what I would say is my best advice. The lesson, and I've been saying this for years. I play in fantasy leagues, dynasty leagues for the people in them. And so when somebody asks me, "Hey, do you want to do a startup?" or "Hey, do you want to come in and take over an orphan in this league?" I don't ask about the settings. I don't even care about looking at the team. I ask who's in the league, because that's what matters to me at this point. That's what makes this fun. Is I like to play, and it's not necessarily a small group of people that I play with. I mean, I'm in 7 different, 6 now, because that league folded. I was in 7 dynasty leagues with a bunch of different people, but they're all people that I enjoy and that I want to play with. And I think that's what kind of keeps that longevity, keeps that, because you have to have the camaraderie, you have to have the rivalry, that little bit of back and forth and the banter and everything to keep it together in the off season, because it's a long off season. And so
that doesn't exist.
The non-point scoring season. Sorry, but that's to me the takeaway is the people, man. You gotta have the right group, and you gotta have a good group. So.
Honestly, that's a deciding factor for me in accepting the league. I would say Joe Webb, going with Joe Webb. You're right. It's a lesson. It's something we've been talking about for a while in DLF and just in Dynasty in general. It's playing in a 3 window is great. If you can have that patience, you can do some remarkable things with productive struggle. But Dynasty leagues do end, and always playing further down the road just mean. I mean, the league folded, and I told everyone I was just about to pounce. I was just about to crush all of them. That's the thing. I try to win every year. I don't have to look back and be like, "Oh man, I shouldn't have been building this year." It's just I really. And I think the important lesson is even when going for that rebuild, like the questions we've asked, I'm building. You've got the value now. I'm always trying to. I think the way to do it is to be more aggressive with trying to turn that team around. You can do a lot with patience, and it's a lot safer, and there are better strategies for it. But it's not just because a league can end; it's because you can flip a team into something more competitive quicker than you think. And Dynasty leagues do end, so it's worth keeping in mind. 12-team Superflex PPR: Damian Pierce and a 23 first and a 23 first. For Javonte Williams, which side are you on? Ow, painful. Yeah. I still haven't made up my mind where I am on Williams, but I think I take the Williams side here. Yeah. I mean, Pierce can do a lot to solidify his first value right now, in which case you probably win.
I mean, I think that's what this is you're assuming Damian Pierce is a first. Because I think Javonte Williams is probably 2 firsts right now.
And for me right now, that's too much, so I'll take the Williams side. Yeah.
I don't know. I might take Pierce.
I'm surprised. I take that.
I might take Pierce because he's projecting right now like there's no other back there. He's probably going to be the starter.
The Rex and then Burkhead slander is palpable.
And then next season, do you guys think they're going to take a quarterback to replace Davis Mills?
Depends on how they do this year. Like depends on how Mills does this year. I mean, if you luck into a quarterback who's on a contract that's not a first round contract, that's a win.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe, but
I think we've had back-to-back years where running backs have come from nowhere exactly this way, which isn't common. And so everyone is looking for the next. And I don't think Pierce. I think Pierce will be fine. We expected him after the draft to be the running back 1 there. I just don't think he's James Williams. I don't think he's who's the guy before? Who's the guy last year? Elijah Moore.
Mitchell.
Not Elijah Moore. Elijah Mitchell. Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't think
he's James Robinson. I'm translating. I got you.
Thank you.
But to me, he feels a lot more like a Tyson Williams, where he had a really good preseason. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, he's going to be."
He might even be that. That's the thing. Yeah,
well, and it did surprise me that Pierce was really good in the preseason. Because although my evaluation of him overall wasn't great, one of the things to note was he was the best in terms of vision in this entire class. He was really good at understanding where the hole was gonna form, also setting up defenders to be on the wrong side of blockers so he could attack the hole. But then once he got through the hole, he's not going anywhere. Well, I think you actually saw that in the preseason where you saw several of his big runs. He would make a cut, he would run into a defender and then get away. That's not happening against NFL starting caliber defenders. It's not. It's happening in the preseason against guys hoping to make the team. And it's not a knock on Pierce as a player, but I don't think what you saw is what you're going to see in the regular season. I think, look, he's probably based on volume a running back 2, assuming
I definitely think that's what he is.
And that's great. Like that's fine.
But give me 70% of the Denver backfield, young and already pretty hyped. Yeah, that's where I'm at. See, we do trade away first occasionally. And my dream is that Fields goes to the Giants and D-ball next year and gets Josh Allen coaching.
Dayball, yeah. To be coached up because the people think that Dayball was the miracle worker for Allen.
I think it's more that team definitely built around him, and it was impressive that a good idea, and I'm glad for the player they did. But yeah, that's a bit. It's fun to have hope, just don't pay for it. That's my dynasty.
Right. Look, we're cheering. We're never cheering against players. When we tell you we don't like a player, we don't like a situation, we don't like. We're cheering to be wrong. Like I will absolutely be happy being wrong if I am low on a player and that player finishes higher than I thought he would. Like I'm cheering for more points, players to succeed. That feels like a little bit of a stretch. Although I'm hoping Fields just in general in Chicago. That change in regime, getting rid of Nagy, having again, we saw him move the pocket in the preseason. This is a really novel concept. A mobile quarterback moving the pocket. Woo, weird.
Yeah, it's official, by the way. Jeff Bell just tweeted out that Damian Pierce has gone into the running back dead zone, so he's dead. He's dead. Do this trade and get word. Anything out on Fields? You all know where I'm at quarterback. It's impossible to predict virtually.
Right.
His rookie season, I'm fine writing it off, but that just makes him a rookie quarterback that I can't have much opinion on. I know he can run a little bit. I think Donald Mooney's going to help him out a lot. Cole Kmet's decent, but I mean, I don't know. I think his cost is too many people want it, so I'm out.
Right. I think he's like just trying to create a hypothetical. Like this is definitely not going to happen. Like,
oh no, Matt's cool. We know Matt. He's fine.
But I was gonna say, like, are we sure about this like Dable like quarterback whisperer narrative, or
we're not at all.
I mean, there was one about Gase when Gase was the quarterback whisperer when he had Peyton Manning. Like that was a thing. And then all of a sudden it's like he went to Miami and he couldn't whisper Tannehill, and then he went to the Jets and he couldn't whisper anything. And so it's
Gase is the worst thing to happen to every NFL offense you've ever been on. Imagine what Peyton Manning could have done without Gase. That's what I say.
really, really good coaches will be honest with you in those moments, and they'll tell you that it's like good players make good coach. Like it's a lot easier to coach good players than it is to coach somebody up.
Brandon, 12-team 3 keeper. Start 8. Acquire Mooney for Burks and Scott. Ooh, 2 maybes for 1 boat. But Mooney right now is kind of it's a smaller, like a taxi boat. He's.
I know you've never heard of this man. You've never heard of this man, but I was in a DM with a guy named Jake Anderson. And he
said, DM. I'm in no DMs with Jake Anderson. Isn't that weird?
He said to me, and I quote, "If Darnell Mooney wasn't Darnell Mooney, he would be a top 10 wide receiver right now in ADP."
Imagine liking Darnell Mooney more than
so you want to know something?
95% of DLF rankers.
you want to know what's something funny, because you mentioned Dynasty Planet, and so I got curious. And so I typed in, and my rostership, the top of my rostership is Darnell Mooney, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Pickens. And then we get into the real meat of it with McKissick and Braxton Berrios and Boston Scott.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it gets dark when you're looking running back. No, right now, I am... Darnell Mooney is a wide receiver I'm highest on compared to DLF ADP. It's the 4th highest. I've got him ranked as wide receiver 18, and apparently that's too hot because he's ranked wide receiver 29 by ADP. Like, I like him a lot, but he can be a top 24 wide receiver, but he does have the potential to break into the top 12. So I want to like him a lot.
Yeah.
I like Burks, like he has that upside too. No?
Yeah, no, he does.
Yeah, but I don't know.
But we have seen Mooney be good in the NFL. This is a conflicting trade.
I'd rather have the guy that we know is good.
I think that's probably the way I'd play it. Yeah, I'd probably take Mooney here. Doesn't it feel like you should be able to get Mooney just for one of them?
Especially,
I don't care about giving up Sky Moore. But...
So this is a 3 keeper league. So you're gonna have guys come back in. So like, just take out the first 3 rounds. Like. You're going to have.
It's a keeper league. There's no way Burks does enough to be a keeper this year. So Mooney all day. Damn it.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
Oh,
Rondell less.
Oh, that's
just
that. Rondell. I think I just found my new 2.
All right, I gotta go. I'll see you later. No,
I I got to add leagues now to use those as team names.
Oh.
MLS is just perfect. Is Isaiah Spiller going to be a thing this year or nah? I mean, Jeff Bale says nah. I don't like him. I think he's one of those running backs I'll add with a second round value.
If he's a thing, then Eckler got hurt.
Yeah,
I think that's probably yeah, that's probably fair. I mean,
or won the lottery, like you're wont to say.
Yeah,
we
he
hope
went to
that he wins the
Fiji.
lottery and just retires. Yeah,
started a business. Yeah. Probably not, but his value's fine for guessing at it. Rookie draft, late second round pick. No, Tyler Johnson landed on the Texans. We don't like it when they can't stick to depth charts.
yeah.
it's
The
good for
NFL
him.
screwed him. I will to my dying day. The NFL screwed this up, but yeah,
I still was waiting for the Pats to sign him because I think that's the place where he needs to be. I really do.
Schematic reasonings, or
Just and the fact that I'm a Pats fan, and I think Tyler Johnson is actually good. I think you can stick him in the slot and he gets open. You know, he's not sexy, but man, does he make play? It's the Rondell Moore thing. Rondell Moore's, I mean, not Rondell Moore.
hey,
Rashad
you like
Bateman.
Bateman?
Rashad Bateman,
Who outplayed him.
Yeah, but Bateman's not sexy either. Like Bateman, you
Yeah,
watch,
they just
you
do a
watch
good
like his
job.
film, and you're like,
Mhm.
and then you watch him again, and you're like,
Still
and then you
doing
watch him
it.
again, you're like,
Yeah, just consistently being better.
yeah,
But not flashy. And Tyler Johnson's the man who outplayed him in college. I'm just it sucks.
yeah, I know.
Volume wise, he was older on the team first. There are reasons to, but yeah, I love Tyler Johnson back in the day. Sean got Traylon
Today.
Burks and a 23. Yeah, I know it was like last week when. Give Jalen Tolbert in 2:23 seconds. I mean, you're trading up. You're trading up off preseason. I love Tolbert, but I mean, you're
kinda like
getting
Tolbert.
a higher draft pick.
I like Burks better than Tolbert by quite a sight.
Yeah. If you like it, credit.
I kinda like the Dallas offense more
than
than
league mates. Hey, there you go.
Tennessee, though.
Psychology working again. No, I love this preseason take idea. It's as they rise. Even if I like him, if I can, you're essentially trading up in your rookie draft after it's happened for minimal cost. It's gold.
So, Sean, I
Gold.
can't. I appreciate the credit. I can't take credit. You need to go follow Leo Pasiga at Siga_FF on Twitter because he is the OG, the godfather of the notebook. I always say he's more synonymous with the notebook than Ryan Gosling. So,
DLF Elder, if I believe. If we go back in the day. No, he's awesome. And still out there putting out good process takes in between, actually having a life. He gave this stuff up for a life. But he's still out there. He went on Dynasty Dummies podcast not too long ago. So check him out. Terry Green. I think you got to hold Eckler for that. Yeah, I think that's where we came out. It's rough, and I'd take the value if your team's not great. Friends, how you doing? Just had a startup Dynasty draft, non-Superflex, PPR. They offered Olave and a 23 first for Diggs. Yeah, take Diggs.
I'm on the dig side, yeah.
10 team, 1 QB. And congrats on the startup, by the way. That's awesome. Should I drop one of Gesicki, KJ Osborne, or Taysom Hill? Keep Gesicki. The other two I'd drop.
Agreed.
Yeah.
For Jeff Wilson, sure. He's a running back.
Yeah. And again, like the second, ostensibly the second running back in San Francisco. So
there you go. Remember when Jeff Wilson was a running back to add? That was fun. Could I also drop Danny Gray? Yes.
You could
have not added him. Lance, yeah, it's fine. Sure did a good job on that trade. David Shank took over an orphan, and I've been working on getting younger. Pick-wise, what is the lowest you'd accept to trade away Keenan Allen? That's a good way of asking that question, David. I like that. I'm currently a 1 QB that is transitioning to Superflex. All right. If you can get one first, 23 for Keenan Allen, I think that you were doing well, better than most owners, because right now he's projected to be injured, apparently.
I would be looking to just test the waters on quarterbacks.
Right.
If it's a one QB
transitioning, yeah,
Yeah, because
like Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, like those guys who are attainable for Keenan Allen. If you're getting and maybe not those specific guys if you're trying to get younger, but like those guys are going to produce, and so that's what I'd be trying to get ahead of the curve, David, on that Superflex transition.
So what's the lowest? Where do you draw the line for a Keenan Allen and a transitioning Superflex? Is it Tua? He's the guy we've mentioned already. Mac Jones, I like. He's probably a little deeper than Tua.
Tua, Mac Jones, around that range.
Yep. All right. Check out any decent rankings. DLF has a few. You may check them out. And in that range of quarterback, I think that's a sharp idea. Send them for quarterbacks first. Otherwise, I'm holding us at least one. That's the lowest I'd accept for Keenan.
And look at the one quarterback rankings too, to see where Keenan Allen is and what quarterbacks are around there. And you may be able to sneak one, man.
Ooh. Yeah, because potentially your league mates aren't like caught up.
They might not
value.
be. Yeah. Someone might be underrating it, the effect on it.
Right.
Try to use one of the 23 first. You got to buy another running back. That's back on the Joe Mixon trade.
Oh.
We are far behind, fellas. James, 12 team Dynasty.
We're only half an hour. Like Connor's good
We're
for
doing
us.
pretty well.
We're only half an hour. With Russ, this would be an hour and 15 minutes. So
yeah, it's all Russ's fault.
Yeah,
it's not mine. PPR, one quarterback, start 8, and start 3 wide receivers. How many running backs? No, that's perfect for the information. Need to drop one player. Trying to trade one for even a pick, but no luck. Can't trade him, so he's got to drop him. Landry, keep. Gage, I'm fine. Woods, fine. Boyd, fine. I would probably keep Kyron Williams if that's who that is, or David Bell. You're keeping that guy. Gage or Woods and Boyd in that order, probably I would drop.
I think I would cut Williams.
You would?
Yeah, out of this group. Yeah, and I know that's bad process, but Landry I think is going to be really good as the two in New Orleans.
Keep him down.
Gage again has potential upside. Like he was okay in Atlanta, and is in Tampa now, which is a very high-powered offense. Right. Robert Woods could be the one in Tennessee. Like he really could. Like he could be the one in Tennessee. So, and then like I like Bell. I mean, it'd be between Boyd and Kyron Williams, and you said definitely keep Boyd. So it's Kyron Williams for me.
I'd keep Boyd the same way I would keep any proven wide receiver who can do something. You know, could get
I'd
traded.
Get rid of
That's a situation where a player changing rosters is interesting to me when they've already done the shit. You know, it's the Tyler Johnsons I must give up on. I don't hate it because this is keeping Gage, and then there's a micro market at some point, and that's why I never end up having those players. But like that's the one that stands out to me. So I feel like you'll be adding Kyron Williams off waivers with Fad at some point.
So do your go to the gelato place, the local gelato place. Take your $5 bill. You pay for the gelato. You get your change back. You flip a coin. Tails is Kyron Williams, heads is Russell Gage, and there you go. Make that cut, and you get gelato.
Yeah, and just to clarify here, because I need to clarify, do not drop Landry or David Bell.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I don't mind keeping Russell Woods either. It's probably added Boyd and Gage. Those are the two that we considered. Or Kyron Williams if you're a Zach fan, which you probably Joe!
Hi.
Hey, Joe.
Who's this guy? Good point. Good point. Do we have our names on? There you go.
That's my Twitter at.
Connor, new hire at DLF, and Russ couldn't be here, and I know Connor, so yeah, it just seemed to make sense. He's got a good beard game. We like him. He's fine.
Yeah.
Tim Shady. Dalvin for Goff and Bateman.
We need more context.
No context.
Right. Superflex. What's it?
I think that's the only way I say no, though, right? I mean, I know there's some injury concerns on Dalvin, but I mean,
yeah, if it's non-super, if it's one quarterback, it's Dalvin like going away.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's Superflex, we got a conversation.
Yeah.
It's probably the quarterback and Bateman in Superflex,
Yeah,
but there's a conversation there.
Outside of that, I'll probably take Dalvin. And then trade him. Why not? For Saquon Barkley or Alfred Kamara, I guess. John Cooper, I have Lance side. I've been offered the JT side. That's from way
we
back.
got that. We got there eventually, John.
We did. Sorry, John.
Take the JT side.
Sorry, John. We suck, but we get there eventually. Kid Coop, can't believe the Vikings got Rager. And they didn't even have to give up whatever. What a steal. Right? They just had to wait a little while and they could add the guy that was drafted ahead of him. Wonderful.
Right.
Pain bot. Phil, what kind of deal would you move Juju for in a single quarterback league? It's a good question, actually. A lot of people interested in him. I have found that despite all the Juju hate, if I go to trade for him, they have the VAC. They're like, nah, you're giving me, or I'm keeping him. Don't let them convince you they are fading Rager. Everyone's in on Juju's upside in KC. Like, they want the full value, which means you can get quite a bit.
Wait.
Russ, you've got something to say, I can tell.
I thought Connor was going to go. I'll go. I thought Connor was going to go. Wait.
I'm saying hold.
Yeah, wait. Because if you can't get anything for Juju now, you're either going to get him being very good, because I think people are underrating him in that Kansas City offense. I know they're tentative to buy in. They want to buy low, but they want to buy low because in the back of their mind, they know that Juju is going to be very good in Kansas City.
Juju plus Mahomes equals 6.
Yeah, that's it. Hang on, and then if you want to trade him after a few weeks of him being great, you're going to get a better offer than I see a couple messages down.
What would be
Chase
the offer
Edmonds.
you would?
Yeah, it would not be
the
Chase
offer
Edmonds.
you're hoping to get, though. Like, if you could get it now, you'd do it now, presumably. So, what would be the offer you would hope to get?
Let me effort that, Peter.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm just riding Juju. I'm going to take those 16 games and see if I can't get me some juicy Juju top 12 performance from his second year. That's honestly where I'm at. But you're right. I mean, there's a reason to trade the value, and the value I want, it's probably 3 first-round picks, but you're not getting that. Nowhere close. It's 2, and it's going to be spicy.
I mean, if you get 1 and change, I think you're doing well.
Yeah, that's what I mean right now.
Like, that's
so, like, you want 2 first-round picks value on Juju to translate that into a trade. Like, can I get CeeDee Lamb?
No,
into a single player, and if it's not, shoot,
yeah. So, like,
I mean, Donald Mooney and a first. Could I get that?
No, but you like that's what I mean. That's what it would take. Like to me, I'm looking.
That's where I'm at.
Like, I'm not taking anything below like AJ Dillon, AJ Dillon, or one of those rookie running back, like Walker, Hall, like that's what I'm looking at. I don't want to trade for a wide receiver because I already got a wide receiver I think is good.
That's good.
Unless you're getting like you said Mooney plus, unless you're getting a wide receiver plus something. So I'm pivoting to either, and honestly, in a single quarterback league, you could almost pivot to like one of those top 6 quarterbacks. I don't hate that. I've kind of changed my tune on this. So Peter, I know you just gave it that funny look. I've changed my tune on this a little bit. In 1 quarterback leagues in Dynasty, I'm actually going to, and I'd love to get in another startup with a 1 quarterback so I can test this out. I'm actually going to pay up for one of those, the elite quarterbacks,
right? Josh Allen,
because they're young, and because quarterbacks don't have any value after, like, once you get into the season and once you get into your league, you can't trade quarterbacks for anything. So those points where you're getting points above the rest of a position, man, I'm going to take that for years.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So it's weird.
I hate it, but I get it.
It's backwards because it was always the JJ Zacharyson, the late round quarterback, but I think people have gotten so far on board with that you can actually get deals in 1 quarterback leagues on and we're talking dynasty, like in a redraft, whatever, like wait, take Trey Lance and then another quarterback that is actually going to start. And then if Lance hits, great. But in a super flex, I mean, in a one quarterback dynasty, like, man, you could do something with a Josh Allen or a Herbert or Lamar Jackson. Like,
Would you do that straight up though?
Why not?
Okay.
I mean, I think they give you positional value over Juju.
They do.
From a wins above replacement.
Yeah. So
perspective,
and I think that to me is where the value is in one quarterback.
Be a lot easier to get done than any of the things I just threw out.
Yeah. So
Right.
I mean, that I think is what I would be looking at. I know it doesn't seem as sexy, but I think you get some points if you do that.
Right.
I think the idea is to wait here, like just a couple good games, and you'll be able to get a lot more or exactly what you want.
Yeah.
But I think those are decent ideas if you try and trade them right now.
In one quarterback right now, Juju,
because you can't get Pitts. If you're trying to go another position with wins over, you can't get Pitts. Kelsey's, like we've talked about, is fine, but you probably need a plus as well.
Juju and Burrow are going back to back in one quarterback dynasty in DLF's ADP. Huh?
He's a little outside of that range.
I don't think I would do it for Burrow, but what we're saying is I think Juju's a little undervalued. Like, I'd be shooting up for like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, like that tier, that next tier above Burrow. But
it's a good idea. Prefer the weight.
I feel like you could do that. Yeah.
No problem, John. Phil, buy low. I mean, like Chase Edmonds or which doesn't.
We've helped you out, Phil. Don't worry. Don't take Chase Edmonds.
Nah. Steve Smith, and you were on the same page.
I was
probably talking about your evaluation of Rondo.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Cooper Kupp during his Senior Bowl process. Yeah, Senior Bowl. That's a lot where low annoyance from the Senior Bowl still comes from, unfortunately. Lundy was a route running technician.
Yeah, mine was before that, but yeah, Senior Bowl is a shrug to me. Yeah, like it really is. It's such a small sample size. It does, like, whatever. It's great that they got invited.
It's weird that they're seniors. That's my main takeaway. 12 team Superflex, 2-point tight end premium. Trade Lance killed at 23 second for Andrews, Higgins, and Malik Willis. Ooh, interesting side swerve there. Not a lot of Malik Willis trades going down. Let's see. Andrews greater than Kittle value-wise. I don't mind Kittle, but there you go. A second and Lance for Higgins, basically. It's got to be there.
I do this. I do the Andrews, Higgins, and Willis.
Yeah, it's got to be.
2 tight end premium. Yeah, Andrews.
Yeah. And honestly, like, Malik Willis could be a steal. Like,
right.
He's the guy in this draft that
he runs.
that I wanted. Yeah. and there's the guy in this draft that I still want. So
that's a big thing, man. I mean, at least it's gonna, if he gets a starter job, that rushing is gonna, everyone's gonna love. The idea of it is value spike. Slot's big.
Slot receivers are sexy, and people are finally starting to come around to that.
Slot is sexy. Order 66. Assume Chase and Jefferson go 1 and 2. Done. What are each of your next top 5 dynasty wide receivers? Oh, I can do that.
I don't know, because I don't have rankings. I would have to give me a minute.
Weirdo.
I know.
Kupp, CD is there.
Kupp is my next one because I think he's going to score for the next 3 years.
I mean, they're up on Patreon. They're up on.
All right, Peter, you go then. You go.
I can read them if you all need a second. I'm just saying.
Go ahead,
I do go Jefferson and Chase, by the way. Like those are my 2 top 5 dynasty wide receivers in that order: Jefferson, then Chase for the shade. Then it's CeeDee Lamb, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Waddle, Stephon Diggs, Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown. I think that covers 5.
We're close. I have Kupp ahead of CD.
I think that makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, those are, to me, that's the top 5. Is Jefferson, Chase, whichever order you want them. I still prefer Jefferson just because he's my boo.
Slot is
but
sexy.
It's the same. It's whatever. and then I have Kupp, Lamb, Waddle, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But the fit, like there could be like 6 guys in that fifth spot.
Yeah.
Tiers are important here.
I'd go CD, Kupp, Diggs, AJ Brown. Is that 5? Debo.
One more. Yeah.
Pretty standard.
None of yours. I mean, Waddle. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But yeah, and you're high on AJ Brown there. Someone likes it. That's nice to know. And hey, you're in a startup 12-team Superflex start 10. 0.75 tight end premium just to throw a little wrench in there.
That's like Russ, man, the 1.75.
Yeah. Traded the 208 this year. Awesome. And a 23 second for a 23 first and a 23 whatever, a third and a 23 first. That's just great.
So it's a startup 208. So move back 6 picks and go to 23 first for
it's
a 23
seconds
second.
for a first.
Yes, do that.
Awesome.
Well, no, it's 208 in a startup, Peter.
Oh,
that's
back
a little hard
to
to
304.
Oh,
so
I
you're
see what you're
moving. Yeah, you're moving back eight picks. I still like that.
I like that a lot.
Mayday. Yeah, I like that. So I'll take the first.
Turned out to be Swift on his end and Watson on mine. Pumped. Yeah, it's good. Do you have any player types that you gravitate to? Depends what you mean by types, but yeah.
Players that score
running backs, slot receivers.
I like rookies who can run routes. Well, they're projected to start in a slot. I also use a weight and height threshold, 6 foot and 200 pounds range. Oh, if you're talking like rookie archetypes or profiles, I mean, to a certain extent, but mine aren't going to read like types to you because I don't think size and weight matter that much that I would use it as a threshold. I like players that get underrated for silly reasons. Does that make sense? Like Combine. I mean, yeah.
I like players who beat zone coverage as wide receivers because everybody has the ability to beat man coverage. Like that's just a thing. Like if you're a good enough receiver to play in the NFL, you're beating man coverage in college. You are. But the really successful receivers I have found do a very good job beating zones. So it was Cooper Kupp, it was Juju Smith-Schuster, it was AJ Brown, it was Justin Jefferson, David Bell this year. That's the type of player that I end up falling in love with is the players who can beat zone coverage because there's a little more to that because you have to read the coverage and zones are cheats. So zones, you're playing areas and you're passing off a player going from your area, passing it off to another player in the next area. As an offensive player, as a receiver, reading where that transition is, stopping because you can create throwing lanes in the defense, and being able to stop, sit down in that throwing lane, give your quarterback a place to throw it is such a big skill, especially with the NFL transitioning to junk defenses, nickels and dimes, and they're playing a lot of man on the outside, zone in the inside, and being that slot receiver, being that guy who can slide inside and beat a zone is huge. So that's the type of player that I'm after.
Again,
and
like
pass catching running backs.
My types aren't going to make sense because they're entirely they're not football takes. I compare them to past prospects who turned out to be good. And I try and find stats that seem to have some connection to points per game in the NFL and just taking it as read that they did that because they were good, whatever makes them good. Receiving yards per team pass attempt tends to be my most common at wide receiver, but I'm literally just looking for players who excelled in a way similar to previous successes. And the commonality, if I'm going to name a type, is ones who do it early and often above average. Pretty early on in their career. I mean, breakouts and the idea you develop into roles tends not to be the norm for those who excel more often than not. They step onto the field doing more than most players do when they first step onto the field, and that's the earliest most will show it very quickly and very often. So that's, if I'm going to name a type, it's that. I don't care if you're shorter and lower weight. I don't care if you don't run a great 40 time. If you are distancing yourself from what an average, even a good average player does when they are on the field, that's what I like. It's age adjusted production, to put a term on it.
I would like
Connor,
to
it seems
quote.
like you got.
I would like to quote Aiden Clemenson as a cross examination of the defense witness and say, so you're one of those people who looks exclusively at stats, even choosing obscure ones over film.
Yeah, I like to look at things that have happened and see if they happen a lot. It's obscure, I know, but
Yeah, so I'd say if we're talking like strictly just receivers, rookie receivers, draft capital. That's it. And then like I'll look at reception perception.
But so here's my question, Connor, with that, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. Yeah, I do a little bit, but don't take it personally. Like draft capital absolutely matters, but there's this little thing in the back of my head that says it matters, but there's also there are those instances where one team drafts a guy and everyone else is like, you drafted Jalen Reagor where? and so like draft capital matters, but sometimes how much it matters is lost in the grant, because overall it absolutely matters. Like if you're looking out at a macro view, I mean, draft capital is the most predictive thing we have. But if you bring it in micro view, like there are players that I just even though they get draft capital, I'm like, nah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think like you were saying,
I do have
overall. Oh wait, go ahead.
I found it necessary because if you just draft capital, you're like, what's my job here? I just do what the NFL says. And then you get challenged. You think you're better than the NFL? No, I think the NFL's looking for different things. I think Ted Ginn had an amazing NFL career that was utterly useless for us. That first round pick was probably justified. And to be honest, for what he did on numerous different teams throughout his career, he's a great player. He's just not a fantasy player. And so that's how I justify trying to find a way to like and not like players at their ADP. Frankly, last year, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown fitting the profile of everyone else who got drafted high and everyone being surprised when he did well in Detroit. Like you got to find a way, I think, outside of draft. But you're right. Draft capital is the singer's biggest indicator. But I mean, how are you ever going to be wrong if you just do what's right? Come on, Cam.
I will say I do look a little bit at reception perception and how Matt Harmon does his charting and stuff, and that definitely informs my opinion on receivers at least.
That's fine.
Yeah, and for me, draft capital, like low draft capital, is more important to me than high draft capital, if that makes sense. So like if somebody's drafted outside the top 3 rounds and I like them, it's like, oh, okay, well I have to reevaluate. Like I have to because now their path to success is tougher, because to get volume you have to get on the field. If we're not spending a first, like a day 1 or day 2 pick, all of a sudden that makes that a lot more difficult. If a guy gets high draft capital that I didn't like, I just kind of shrug. But if a guy that I liked gets low draft capital, that's like, oh no, John Kelly got was a 6th round pick. This is terrible. So,
yeah, well, you get Jalen Reagor, so you gotta be careful a little bit. Tutu Atwell going in the 2nd round, that one hurt.
Just a little though.
But I mean, it's surprising how much common sense requires you give up your common sense. Just look to see if it happens so much. Like I knew to be cautious on Tutu, despite the fact that the thing that I do that tries to beat draft capital liked him. Like I'm going to be a little cautious on Juju, even though I don't like the combine or White House. I mean, it's an extreme example. So you got to apply common. It's like Ross, who's that fast guy that the Bengals drafted?
John Ross.
We knew what that was. Cincinnati Bengals pay no scouts, no money because they don't want to. They're a cheap-ass team. And he runs a blazing 40, gets way overdrafted. And then there are articles about his special team usage that we know can be a factor for like the Antonio Browns, the late-drafted players who might be better than we thought. The NFL didn't get to see too much. And so there's hope. If that's your entire argument, he played cornerback. and that means his first round draft capital matters, then that's not, that's not
Right.
it. Yeah, he got injured running that 40.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
But he could have won an island if he had the right shoes.
There you go. Antonio Gibson. Hey, I've heard Antonio Gibson.
It's Joe.
Why does that ring a bell? Yeah. Does anyone like Sermon?
Who's that guy again?
I don't think anyone likes Sermon. I don't think Sermon likes Sermon at this point.
Oh, that's
I'm surprised you got cut today. I mean, he's better at something than I will ever be at anything. So let's not throw too much shade, and he'll probably find a job. Like he's
right.
He can do something for an NFL team, and I hope he does. But it's just likely not a fantasy relevant job, right? Is that where we're at?
I got to scroll an awful long ways in my 2021 rookie running back rankings to find Trey Sermon. Like, he's
never
down
trust
there.
a Shanahan draft pick. There you go. That's what you do.
No, but he was a straight line guy who wasn't a great straight line guy and didn't catch any passes. So, like, all of the things that I don't like in a running back was Trey Sermon.
Fair. Hopefully he goes to Houston's or Ravens. Yeah, I really hope he does. I mean, always root for players. That's my motto. Your boy Mason made the team though. Mason? Anyone know who Mason is?
Jordan Mason?
I think that must be a Joe guy, not an us guy. This is people talking to Joe. I should know better. Talbot hasn't shown up yet. Cowboys fan here. I think he had a good preseason. He had some hype there. And again, he has a decent, especially for where he's being drafted. Mid-second round in a rookie draft. I absolutely love him. 10-team half-point PPR shallow league, though. Thoughts on potential trade? Give DeAndre Swift, Tyreek Hill. There's a lot of capital running out the door here. Garrett Wilson, Tom Brady, for AJ Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Joe Burrow. Oh, okay. You got a lot coming back to J.K. Dobbins. And
no, I want the side you gave. I want the Swift, Hill, Wilson, Brady side. I do.
How do you do that? That's quick. Come on, man.
I told you, exceptionally literate. Like I am. There are a lot of things that I'm not. Literacy, I got.
Shallow. It doesn't say whether it's a Superflex. That's what I was looking for. Like Brady versus.
I'm guessing it's not, but
no quarterback. Probably not. Probably not based on the way it's written. Swift and Hill for AJ Brown and J.K. Dobbins. Yeah, it's probably the Swift and Hill side. Hill's probably going to be a top 12 wide receiver again this year. Like, don't sweat the small stuff.
I almost lean.
Swift should be a top 12 running back, and he's young. So
for me, I'm lower on Dobbins than most people, and I think that's probably the break in this.
Dobbins is top 24. I like him more than I did after listening to Russ explain how his value really can't go down into next year.
Oh, it absolutely can.
I don't know if he gets on the. I mean, outside of an injury.
I watched him take a rep today and then limp and then yell at people for saying he was limping. I'm not limping. I'm just not walking like a robot. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, okay, it could go down. Like he may not be healthy yet.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
And he's also the running back 2 on his team as the running back 1. Because Lamar Jackson is the running back 1.
Like, I was still saying Swift a lot more value than Dobbins. Yeah. I just saying I like Dobbins a little bit more than I thought. I did starting this offseason because, he's a top 24 running back. Don't listen to that guy. Who put him on it? No, but yeah, outside of that, Hill and AJ Brown, I mean, they're both slightly older, top 12 wide receivers with immense talent who are probably going to do that this year. So I don't think there's much difference there. And then you're getting Garrett Wilson, but you also get Jerry Jeudy.
I mean, the Burrow, if it's a super flex, the Burrow side has value because you get a younger quarterback that's putting up similar numbers to Brady. Like Brady is a 1-year rental.
Yeah.
So, but I still want that first side.
I think I might go with the second side, to be honest. Because
if it's a super flex, I think I lean that side.
Even if it's not a super flex, I still think there's a chance Burrow gives you top 5 quarterback value. Maybe sort of. Just
No, I get it. I mean, how could you argue with that team, right? And he's great, and he's got so much swag. It's just it was so
and I think Jeudy
heavy last year. It's got to come. it's not Godu, but I mean, I don't think he's easily projectable into a top 5's upside, but he's going to be top 12 for like 27 million years. So it's not like I don't like him. But yeah,
I think
Superflex.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Judy too. You know, there's a chance of him breaking out too, so I kind of like that too. I know Sutton.
We're Cortland Sutton people around here.
I was just about to say, I know Sutton's favorite.
It sure is, Joe.
Plant.
He's the guy I was talking about last week with a 70%. I got it wrong, so I'm not going to say it again.
I know.
Wide receiver showing early enough.
It was fine. Yeah, you said it just in a slightly different way, but
yeah, she follows you. That's awesome. And you should. Joe, would you? They're here to ask Joe questions. I
don't blame them. Like, I mean,
I don't blame him either.
If you've seen the quality of Joe's responses in the chat, and you've seen the quality of the responses on this show, I mean, like, I'm actually in the chat asking Joe questions. So,
hey, man, I follow Joe too. I'm saying, and I don't follow for fun. I would definitely keep Woods. Could be a huge point scorer. Since not much competition. Yeah, I really like the Woods take. Actually, I missed that one, but that's a good point. Zach caught it though. That's why I have other people here. It's a startup. I have Pittman Sutton. See, they're just going to town.
Batman.
Like,
I like
let
Batman.
Joe relax.
Yes.
12-team Superflex PPR. Need a running back. No, you don't. What can I get for Ayuk or Bateman? Tell you what, I'm gonna look that up. Anyone got any thoughts?
I would go ahead. Zach.
No, you go first.
I would hold on to Ayuk, sell Bateman, and I think it's really just comes down to that. I don't really like Bateman in that offense, and Ayuk I think is being undervalued right now. So, yeah.
Are you? I know you said you don't like Bateman in that offense. Are you concerned at all with San Francisco's offense with Lance being kind of a similar?
Yeah, that
prospect?
Is a good point.
I mean, and again, I'm not like I like to play the devil's advocate sometimes.
This says I really like the DLF Trade Finder. I like trade calculators for their own thing, but I like being able to see what people are actually doing because there's a difference between what you can do and value and all this shoot we talk about all the time. And DLF Trade Finder just kind of cuts through it. So I think this answers the question and why Connor was like keep Ayuk because that's my answer. But you're asking what can you trade Ayuk for right now? Here's some ideas. Sky Moore. If you add a second, you can get Antonio Gibson, which Joe might be all for, but right now it's buying a falling value with a stable one, plus a second. And Jameson Williams, guessing in a Superflex. Yeah, it's a Superflex. And you have to add a first-round pick startup, apparently. I'm looking for more one-to-wanes. Cordero Patterson and Ramondre Stevenson. Deshaun Watson, if you add Cam Akers. Like, it's just not there. No one wants Ayuk. Like, I don't. But those are the level of running backs you're looking at. If you're looking for a simple trade, there's a lot of monsters here with Ayuk in it. And who's the other one? Bateman might be better.
So here's a question. So if he's looking for a running back, do you think, and this has been kind of me going to the well with A.J. Dillon, but I think he's in that same kind of area as Bateman, that same value tier with, again, potential to be much higher next year. I don't necessarily think that this year, like I think he'll score this year, but I think
he'll disappoint some though.
Yeah, and that's fine.
But I love his ADP, and I think the play is great. I think his value is much more interesting to your point though. Right now, for example, Rashad Bateman in a third, 23 now, 23 third. For Mike Evans. It's kind of a win nowish trade.
Yeah.
But seems kind of fair. If we're looking for running backs, Michael Pittman for Bateman and Sony Michel and a 23 first. That's not a running back, but it was interesting. Bateman straight up for George Pickens. That's a weird one. They need to get on the stream. They need to get in this chat.
You could have both of them. It would be great.
Hey, Terrence Marshall and Rashad Bateman. So Rashad Bateman. For Tyrion Davis Pierce, but also you get Elijah Mitchell.
So
Elijah
I mean, it's
Mitchell's
fine.
not a bad hunt.
bad.
You could ask
Yeah.
for a second back. I think both of these guys are I mean, Bateman's value is more interesting. You could probably get a better running back, but he's not Bateman and Parker, so just Bateman for Aaron Jones.
No, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I think
that's
I'd do
about where
that.
we're
I
at.
like Aaron Jones. Yeah. So, but I think that's the problem with this trade for Tim is the running backs that are equal to those two players are
That's
kind of in
what
this
yeah.
the dreaded dead zone.
They're in the
it's that-
dreaded. If it doesn't work, you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're just looking for points, and that's
Yeah.
not bad if you're looking for points.
which is
but-
why I keep going back to AJ Dillon because I think people are going to be excited. Like, AJ Dillon's going to have another value peak. He will. You can already see it. And I'm a micro market player, so like I'll take the points that I get from Dillon because I think he's going to. Man, that offense in Green Bay,
I'm not joking.
Their receiving core is not very good.
AJ Dillon's good, and Aaron Jones can only do so much, and Aaron Jones could unfortunately win the lottery, move to Fiji.
Yeah,
and I'm
Fiji
not
sounds
joking
good.
when I say the thigh value alone. I mean, honestly, those are impressive fucking thighs. And the guy's got common sense. I mean, the minute those started, I read a report that he went out and asked for the shortest pair of shorts he could find. That's just common sense. Yeah, if these are getting traction, I'm going to put them out there. I like that. So outside of the trades that are getting done, if you just freaking have to, Tim, I think Zach's telling you the white way to go. Get AJ Dillon and ask for something on top of it. Because the value is going to rise in AJ Dillon, and it's not clean straight up. Outside of that, it's the aging veteran quarterbacks. Do you have any other young running backs that you'd add right now, Zach?
I mean, I don't think you can get up. I don't think you can get up to those guys without packaging Bateman, with somebody else to get up to the. Because if you're looking at young running backs, I mean, you're going to get up to. I mean, man, I don't even want ETN because I think ETN's at peak value. Like you got to get up into the top like 5 running backs to get anybody I want, and you can't get there with Bateman.
I mean, it's add a first and swing at Najee Harris, and you're probably going to get rejected. That's the only other thing. Dillon's a good one. Dillon's probably the best, unless you're into the Pierce argument. Connor, maybe would you go for Damian Pierce for one of these guys? You like Pierce a little bit?
I don't know. I might trade Bateman for some draft capital. That's about it.
So that's the thing. I think Zach's hit it on the head there. The value of these 2 wide receivers for running back straight up, you're going to be trading into a situation that has to hit. You have to get the points.
Right.
Or something not quite there. So Dillon's probably the only one I can come up with. Or add and go up. But probably hold. I'm high and I can't stop thinking about it. That's normal.
Okay.
Don't worry about it, man. It'll wash out. Just write it. Take the test. Get help if you need it, though. Jeez. Don't know why I'm giving medical advice. I should not do that.
Dr. P.A. Howdy?
Yeah, right. Zach out here flicking us off.
I don't think I did that.
You didn't do that?
I don't think so. If I did,
We'll
I
start an
apologize. I did not intend to.
I think they're referring to the Antonio Gibson.
I think they're talking about being high on players, to be honest.
Well, that's fair.
Thanks for Juju trade answers, guys. No worries, guys. It's literally why we sit here. So anytime. Well, not just trade, but yeah. I got Cousins as a starter in that league, so QBs are definitely something to think about. Yeah, Tannehill and Cousins both make an interesting question mark next year. Tannehill's the only one who's dropped in value drastically, though. I mean,
but he's talking about this is that one. This is the one quarterback league. So like upgrade. You could upgrade from Cousins with Jude. Like that. I think I still think that's a way I would attack it.
It's an interesting one. It's not one I hear much. And if you do it and it works, make sure you remember that I told it to you. I mean,
that's at PA Howdy on Twitter.
No, that's honestly not something I've heard before. It's a good approach. Good idea if it works. Anyway. Norris Designs. I traded Sutton, Elijah Moore, and a 23 first and second, and a 24 first. Not going out the door. Oh, but it's for Debo and ETN. Maybe trade ETN, but not bad. You kind of anyway. I still have another first. multiple seconds and 23 and 24. Thoughts? I like the energy here. I just think you've sent out Sutton, which I hate. Elijah Moore, which is really, he's a good young wide receiver. And late first. Getting Debo's great. ETN's like hit max value, and I think you bought too late. Look,
that's a lot for
you
Debo.
Don't have.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I love Debo, but that's a lot. Like I think Sutton and Debo are going to score very similarly here for the next couple of years.
He could.
I'm on record, Peter, and if I'm wrong on this, then I'll own it. But like I think Sutton without an injury is a top 12 wide receiver this year. Like I really do.
I like Sutton, but I'm about boats and maybe a boat, and I really like Sutton's potential to be a boat, but he's still a maybe a boat. Whereas Debo's,
you got to get on the boat. We did last year. We did the Cooper Kupp. We did the Debo. You got to get on the boat, Peter.
Oh, you can't Sutton is Kupp me. I mean, Kupp had literally already been in the top 5. Like Sutton struggled into the top 24.
No, Kupp wasn't top 5.
Yeah, he'd been top 5.
Yeah, he was.
Are we talking points per game now? Are we going back and forth?
Oh, total points. He had done it before.
Top 5?
Pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. I don't
Definitely
think so.
top 12.
He was top 12, and Sutton was 18 in his rookie year.
We'll fact check this, but Cortland Sutton ain't been neither of them. I'm just saying. But no, it's fine. I'll take my L for liking Cortland Sutton if I have to, I guess. And what stops me here is you're paying full price for ETN, and I don't know I would do that. Like you're paying maybe a little extra for ETN. Because you got 2 firsts plus 1, 2, 3. Let me count these up in first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 4, 5 firsts for 4. It's real close, and I don't. I
mean, it's not a bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I'm not a believer in ETN. So if I got that side, I'd be trying to trade him, and I'd be trying to get the 23 firsts.
That's my only question here. You're trading into 2 solid assets for things that we like. So I think I would take your side of it, to be honest. And I'm having conflicts because I don't like being like ETM right now. That's why. And Zach's already writing down. Make sure to own Peter for Sutton being top 12 next year, and he should because I said bad things.
I'd be on the Sutton side.
I'm on the deal. I'm all over here with you, Norris. Me and you, Norris. Stick there. All right.
Kupp was top 4 in 2019, so I will admit defeat on that.
There you go. Antonio Gibson. Since PPR per game can be used after only 6 games in the NFL, I think 6 games is a decent threshold in the NFL. Then why can't we take any player's 6 highest games scored? I mean, it's apples to apples. That's what I'd offer to you. Apples to apples. That's not what I see. I see people taking players' 6 tops games and comparing them straight up to other players. That's not apples to apples. You go get me Cooper Kupp's 6 top highest scoring games and then compare them. Then do that to everyone. That's at least apples to apples.
That Joe is actually a really interesting.
It's actually interesting.
I would love to. I'm
going to do that.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Just because we're always trying to get that ceiling. That's a great way to look at things.
See, that's why it's. I'm just being clear. That's
very
what's complained about. It's because you take the nuggets from one and compare it to everyone else, and that's just.
It's the old if Derrick Henry didn't have the 399-yard runs,
if we just include all the variants in everyone else and none of the variants, and that's when it's bad. But that's actually an interesting idea. If you go and take the top 6 games from everyone and compare them, that's might turn up something interesting. I've never looked.
That's a good idea.
Consistent idea.
Right. Everybody will have the 6.
And that's why we all follow Joe. People not following Joe.
I'll do that
Tim
later.
Shea. No, seriously, if you don't, you should. Joe's actually real.
No, he's talking about he's going to do math.
I'm going to calculate it out.
Oh, he's talking about the idea. Well, you're going to find
because that's super easy and interesting. I'll at her too on Twitter.
Yeah,
when I post it or whatever.
Excited to see what you come up with because I'm not doing the work. Fuck that. But I mean, excuse me. Fuck that. Tim Shady, ranked by who scores the most fantasy points this year? DK, Jarvis, Christian Kirk, or Amari?
DK.
Then it gets hard.
Jarvis, because that's hashtag brand. Amari, Kirk.
I'm gonna. Is MT healthy? Anyone?
I don't know.
That's what's
Healthy-ish.
I think kind of, sort of.
But the problem is, so you're going to have to slide him outside because Jarvis is not a boundary receiver. So you're going to have Michael Thomas playing a position that he hasn't played before, and Jarvis playing a position that he plays well, or you tank Jarvis. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
I don't think they fade Menti for Jarvis. I think Menti gets his job back if he's there. That's
but I'm talking like position, like in terms of like where he, because Michael Thomas has always been that big slot, that inside wide receiver.
Right.
I think he's more effective on the outside than Landry.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be interesting to see how they reconcile that.
Could he be a Z receiver?
Yeah.
I mean, but then where do you put Olave?
Run. Go run.
Yeah.
Run around. Yeah, we have our doubts about Mr. Olave this year. I'm liking it up. I don't care what you say. I do projections for a freaking reason, and that's so I don't have to know everything.
I'd probably do DK first, Kirk, then Amari, then Jarvis.
Boom.
Yeah, sorry, but I actually like Olave. There's this guy, Joshua Jahan on Twitter, and he does like machine learning algorithms and stuff that's way above my
sounds like effort
skill set. And I think his number one receiver was Olave. So to me, that's
should like him. It's like he probably likes Sky Moore a little bit too, if I can.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'll look at it after, but.
DK, Amari Cooper, Christian Kirk, Jarvis Landry.
Boom.
I know. I wanted to put Landry first, but then I remember Michael Thomas might exist. Gibby has 6 highest games last year, meant he had around 18 points per game. All right. So the question is 18 points per game good when you only take everyone's 6 highest games? And there's a point. That's why right now I draft him where his ADP is at, because he's gonna have good weeks if he has a job. And I think he probably does. I mean, yeah,
he looks good from a yards per team pass attempted perspective too.
A minimum. Someone was supposed to be good with read option coming out of Ohio State, which would have went well with Trey Lance. Didn't work out. Well, Trey Lance hasn't played yet, to be fair. So they would have kept him if that was working, I guess.
I don't know. I watched him. I didn't think he was very good.
Fair enough. Okay, we're into someone else's conversation. Tyrandarius Price or Mason, the rookie at San Francisco, you want to roster? I think he's asking Joe because Mason is not someone we've mentioned. I'd probably take TDP, I guess, just because it's the guy I know.
TDP.
Jeff Wilson. Da. Try not to read other people's conversations. I apologize, especially since we spent so long not talking about all these questions that were asked to us. Trade away Pittman for Waller, McKenzie, and a 4th in a 12-team, 2.5 tight end premium. Who's McKenzie? Start 11.
Isaiah McKenzie.
Bills. Yeah.
Kelsey and Ertz. I want Pittman, and you do not hear me say that a lot.
I just marked tape here. We're at 1 hour, 58 minutes, 57 seconds. Peter said, I love Michael Pittman Jr. I heard it.
I love Michael Pittman Jr. There you go. There you go.
I appreciate it.
I'll do anything to get someone to clip this show.
I absolutely am going to.
I should have made myself look respectable for it. And FF Lefty. Oh, also, hello everyone. Don't mind me lurking. I appreciate you lurking, Lefty. And we did miss hashtag Team Joe. There you go. Full PPR Dynasty League. I have 3 stash running backs, but have to cut one. 4 TDP or Tyrion Davis Price, which is a better name than TDP objectively, and Ty Chandler. I think it's Ty Chandler for me.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I would
or
do
Ford.
too.
Actually, it's definitely Chandler for me. But, you know,
I mean,
wanted to make
Ford
sense
had that
there.
one really nice catch in the preseason. You didn't see it? No, I don't know.
Ford did something in the preseason apparently, and was like
Yeah, whatever.
profile
I mean, like,
college. I know that.
yeah.
And Terry Davis is like a part-time player, interesting athletics, and he's in Green Bay, so why not? TDP's in Price is in Green Bay, right?
No, San Francisco.
Am I misremembering?
And Ford's
it?
in
Okay.
Cleveland.
All right, it doesn't matter. Chandler's the one I don't know shit about, so I'm assuming he didn't pop up in anything I've done, which normally means that I'm gonna get burned by it. But there you go. Hey guys, let's use our lights. This is gold. I appreciate that. I didn't realize that was for us till halfway through. I swear, but no, seriously, thanks very much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Zach probably is too high on Pippen. Probably it's the second clip. No, Pittman's good, man. I mean, can't take away last year. You can try, and I have.
Well, and Matt Ryan is a better boundary. I know I got called out on it on the Trade Addicts pod last night because I said that Wentz does not throw well to the boundaries. I still don't think he does, and he throw less often outside the numbers than Matt Ryan by a significant amount last year, which to me, and I know Pittman had a pretty good year last year with Wentz. I think Pittman has a better year with Matt Ryan.
You wouldn't have to try very hard to make me believe that Matt Ryan does everything better than Carson Wentz.
Yes.
So I mean, that's not shade to Carson Wentz. Because Matt Ryan's been really good. And yeah, I happen to know that. So Connor's rankings of those wide receivers are correct, according to him and me. Okay,
Thanks.
I like the AJ
Sounds
Brown
good.
love, man. Appreciate that. Just saying that was a thought when he was drafted. I've definitely lost the plot here at some point. Packers only kept Jones and Dillon. I mean, to be frank, that's a pretty good running back room so far. And we're at the end of it, guys. At least as far as they're concerned, that's all we have to add to their lives right now. I don't know why I'm throwing shade.
It's perfect timing for me, Peter.
Because Zach has to go.
I gotta bounce. Like you guys can carry on, but I have to. I have to bow out. I got an FF lefty. Hey, look over there.